Welcome back to the Warrior's Garden, everybody. Today we are talking about budget optics. Do they ever make sense to buy, or should you always go with something more expensive? Let's do our scripture reading and then we'll talk about it.
Today's scripture reading comes from Philippians 4:9. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put it into practice, and the God of peace will be with you.
All right, guys, like we said in the intro, we're talking about budget optics. So this one is the Monstrum Blackbird 3x30 Prism. Not specifically just talking about this one today. This is just an example of a budget optic. I'll put some information up on it here, but I paid 50 bucks for it, so I'd say it's pretty budget. It's definitely not the cheapest ones I've seen. You can obviously find some Amazon red dots that are pretty much garbage. Maybe not for a Nerf gun, but that's about it. But anywho, definitely not the cheapest one, but also not very expensive. So we're going to be talking about, does it make sense to ever buy something like this? Why did I buy it? Should you buy something like this? Or should you always be buying something like Trijicon, Aimpoint, EOTech, Holosun, I don't know, the big ones, stuff that's a little bit more proven and tested and well known. So I guess first off, why did I buy this? So this is an M&P 1522, so it's 22 style AR, and I bought this prism for this gun, and it's pretty much going to spend its entire life on this gun because justify my own purchase for you guys here. I bought this because this 22 is really not super important in the sense of it's not going to be a home defense gun. It's not going to be a hunting rifle. It's not going to be anything crazy where I need to be making precise shots or anything like that. So number one, it's not a home defense or self-defense weapon. Number two, I bought this I have this rifle, to help train and show my wife how to shoot an AR style rifle without having as much recoil. I know 5.56 doesn't have a whole lot, but it's just easier with less noise, less recoil to learn on something like this when it still has all the same functions of a standard AR, and she can still learn and understand how to get a good cheek weld and get a good sight picture with something like this just as easily as she could with a nicer brand optic. But I don't really care to put an EOTech on this because, again, it's just for something that's going to be used for training, teaching new shooters, again, the basics and fundamentals of shooting, and occasionally shooting a squirrel in the backyard that's on the bird feeder or something along those lines. So number two, being used for new shooters, not worried again about having the clearest glass or something that's going to be the most rugged or durable or hold up to combat standard duty performance, right? The third reason is it was cheap, and I don't have thousands of dollars laying around to spend on an EOTech for a gun that's going to sit in the safe a lot. So if you're having something you don't ever really use, or it's not being used for something all that important, I don't really see value in spending, unless again you just have the money laying around, spending $500, $600, $700 on an optic that's going to sit on a gun in your safe and do nothing. At that point, I'd rather just have, oh, well, let me rephrase. I would love to have an EOTech or an Aimpoint on every single one of my rifles. However, being realistic, I would rather just have a budget optic on a rifle so I don't have to pull a good optic off of a different rifle every single time I want to shoot this and re-zero and go through all that hassle. So I'd rather save a few bucks, throw something like this on here where if it does break or lose its zero, it's really not that important in the grand scheme of things for what this gun is built for. However, that being said, I also still do have standards for what I do buy. I would not go onto Amazon and buy a $15 red dot. I'm sure you guys have seen some of them, the ones that flip up and all the other baloney that there is out there. I would do a little bit of research on what you do buy and try and buy something that is going to hold up a little bit better. Prisms are obviously a little bit more durable, naturally, just by the nature of them, and that's why I went with the Prism for this, among with a couple of reasons. But again, if you are buying budget, still obviously buy something that's going to make sense. Now, what I do believe, though, is there's a time to not buy budget. So if it's your primary self-defense or home defense weapon, like my concealed carry, I have Trijicon on that. Got a good deal on it, right? I still got some money, or still save some money on it, but I would not put a red dot made by Monstrum on my concealed carry. It's not to say that it might not work or it might not hold zero or whatever, but I want to put, a trusted and proven and tried and true optic on what I'm going to be using to defend my life or my family's life if needed. So do budget optics make sense? I'm going to say yes. I know there's a lot of people out there who would say no, always, get the nicest thing that you can. And I would agree with that for 99% of the time, and especially on, like I said, on something that you're going to be trusting your life to. But for something like this that's just sitting in the safe and occasionally being used to teach somebody how to shoot, or, you know, like I said, shoot a squirrel or something, I wouldn't stress putting a super nice optic on it. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I guess it's not groundbreaking information in this video by any means, but I do think that budget optics do have a place. Something like this does make sense. Do your research before you buy something, though, as always, and don't go buy a Trijicon and put it on a rifle like this with a purpose like this just for the Instagram picture. Be responsible with your money. But yeah, guys, also, this is not sponsored by Monstrum at all. If it was, that'd be cool, but it's not. So this is my actual thoughts on budget optics. They're not, you know, having me promote their little $50 site here. And oh, other thing, I have an Instagram channel, The Warriors Garden. I'm also on Rumble, so make sure you guys check me out there as well, so you can get a little bit of heads up of what I'm doing before I do it. I post about what I'm doing before I do it on Instagram, before I post it to YouTube. So anywho, follow me there. Be a man, be prepared, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.